Now let's go ahead and talk about the one team I really don't want to talk about. God, my heart hurts when I say this, ladies and gentlemen, but it is true. Tis true, ladies and gentlemen. We have to talk about the Miami Dolphins. The Phins lose to the Texans. Oh God, and I was there. This was a tough loss for the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion. Um, as far as when it comes to the Dolphins versus the Texans, this was an absolutely winnable game, in my opinion. Unfortunately, our offense didn't get off the bus, and that is where we ended up having the problem. 30-12 loss, guys, has put the Miami Dolphins at the 11th position in the draft. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at all this real quick and kind of break down this game for you. Collins has 2 touchdown catches. Texans forced 4 turnovers and 20-12 win over the Dolphins. Tasked with shadowing Miami star Tyreek Hill for most of the game, Houston's cornerback Derek Stingley shined. Very embarrassing, according to the AP. Ladies and gentlemen, this game was just frustrating because this was an absolute winnable game by the Miami Dolphins. In my opinion, we had the better weapons, we had the better team overall. I know, let me just get it out the way. Everybody's gonna say, I can't believe this defense was horrible. And they allowed 20 points. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's under league average. League average right now is 22.2 points per game. That's league average. The Miami Dolphins defense, with their first year DC, Coach Weaver, allowed only 20 points versus the Houston Texans, who at that point were 8-5. And the Dolphins were 6-7. We had an opportunity to go to 7-7 to be at 500 for the season, continue our playoff opportunity and playoff push. Unfortunately, this offense just completely stalled, and it started off with the leader of the offense that nobody ever wants to blame, the quarterback. The first quarter, no points for the Dolphins. Texans scored 3 points. That first drive for each team ended up being punts, ladies and gentlemen. In the second quarter, you had obviously Nico Collins, that 6-yard pass by CJ Sanders with the field goal, um, making it 3-10. And then Sanders with another field goal, making it 6-10. But unfortunately, what a lot of people, attribute to this, there was an interception right there caused by the quarterback that allowed for the Texans to gain that extra field goal. Second half, it was pretty much the same thing. Both teams were able to score a touchdown, and I'm not going to lie to you. I yelled at my screen, and I was so happy. I was like, yes, yes. Let's go! Let's go! That's what I'm talking about. Let's go! Let's go! John Smith with the touchdown. Did you see that pass by to? Let's go! Finally! Thank you. Let's go. I was excited. I was like, we're back. Okay, relax. It's the third quarter. We got a whole quarter going. Let's go, Dolphins. Let's make this happen. Guys, it was still a one possession game. Granted, Sanders missed the PAT, making it instead of 7 points, 8 points. But we were right there within striking distance. Like, we were still in this game, guys. We were absolutely still in this game. That's the part that I'm like, oh God, come on, man. And it was just that fourth quarter sequence, just taking a look at that play by play, which I'll put it up in a second. But it was just too fresh. I don't even want to get to the score. Let's just go over that fourth quarter sequence, guys. In the second half, we each scored that touchdown that we were referring to. The defense was able to get that punt. But what does Miami do? That extremely costly interception in the middle. I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. We punt them. We punt them. Our defense gets them to punt. What happens? Interception. We get them to punt again. What happens next after that? -9 yards. And we punt. After that miracle, we punt them again. And make them go -5 yards. Ladies and gentlemen. And the ball, we get the ball left. We get the ball left. You can't even make this up. You can't even make this up. With 1:44, the Miami Dolphins still had, I believe, 2 touchdowns, if not all 3. But for sure, at least 2 touchdowns. I mean, 2 timeouts. Tua Tagovailoa, deep right pass. Underthrown, severely underthrown, am I at? Intended for Tyreek Hill, intercepted by Stingley at the Houston 49. Stingley to Houston 49 for no gain. And last night, we were discussing this. Oh, Tyreek needs to hold on to the ball. The ball was in his hand, and he needs to hold on to the ball. Well, I'm going to illustrate this with my little football piggy bank. Yes, it's a little football piggy bank. See, it's a little football. See it right there. Hey. Tyreek caught that ball. He did. He caught that ball. He had both hands in it. This is how he caught the ball. Unfortunately, that ball was so underthrown. First of all, he's 5'9". That's 5'2" at this point. Tyreek is 5'2", I'm convinced. The cleats make him a little bit taller. He got the ball like this, but unfortunately, Stingley ended up getting literally the inside leverage of that ball. He put his hand in between Tyreek's chest and his arms, in his chest between the arms, and pulled that ball down with his weight. I don't care what anybody says. You're not all that weight coming down on a ball. I don't care how strong you are midair. That's just not something you're going to be successful at. And unfortunately, after finally the defense makes another stop, ladies and gentlemen, Tua Tagovailoa with his third costly turnover. And that interception, and people want to talk about how it was on time. No, this is 100% on Tua Tagovailoa, period. Ball placement was horrible, absolutely horrible, and it was severely underthrown. If he would have actually high-pointed that ball, then guess what? Tyreek would have been able to fall on it. He threw the ball here. The defender was right in front of. They were both falling backwards. But the defender was right in front of Tyreek. I get he's a $30 million receiver. I get he's supposed to be catching all those 50-50 balls. Nobody's going to catch that ball like that. Not with the way the leverage that Stingley had in putting his hand in the middle of his chest and in between those two hands and pulling it down. That's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. And no matter how much people want to talk about how horrible this offensive line play was, if I pull up the numbers, you're going to be able to see that even with the horrible offensive line production, it doesn't excuse Tua Tagovailoa blindly throwing the other 2 interceptions he threw, one on the left of the field and one right in the middle, where you can tell he wasn't even looking, because especially the one in the middle, the defender didn't even move. The defender was that defender, that DB didn't even move in the middle of the field. Tua threw it straight to him. Tyreek was coming on a on a post route, I believe, into the middle, and it's like Tua didn't even see the defender at all, and threw the ball anyways. And he didn't even throw the ball where you can have that touch that everybody says Tua has, that pinpoint accuracy. It wasn't there because he threw the ball right to the defender, like literally right to the defender. He needed to put a little, which Tua does every time, put a little bit more arch into that to get to Tyreek. But no, one of the hardest throws in the league, in my opinion, to throw over the corner, under the safety. He just threw it straight to the DB. He didn't even overthrow that at all. Didn't like it was it was not. You can't even say it was underthrown. It was thrown to the defense. Period. And that's the part where you can't. Those mental decisions, you have to step up. The Texans defense didn't even. It wasn't even like they were so dominant. No, it was just mental mistakes by Tua, and he touches the ball 100% of the time. And unfortunately, it cost us this game because had we had, oh my God, one less interception, I still think the Dolphins had a chance to win this game. One less interception, and I still think the Dolphins had a chance to win this game. I really do. I really do. And that's the part that makes it even more frustrating because you expect better from your franchise quarterback. You do. And for saying that, the Tua has been dealing with a battle line, which is I've heard this all 5 years of him being here. Ladies and gentlemen, Tua, one thing that I've said, Tua has gotten better at navigating that O line because that's what you have to do when you have a battle line. And Tua has been able to do it. But right now, you can see it's just that was a mental mistake by him over and over and over and over and over again. And this was such a winnable game. We were, at the end of the day, the Texans ended up being the better team, obviously, because they were able to get the points they needed to win. We beat ourselves. And that's what makes this even more unfortunate. And in the Tankathon, ladies and gentlemen, the Miami Dolphins are 11th, just outside of the top 10. They're tied with four other teams that are also 6-8 right now throughout the league. Now, we'll talk about week 16 and when it comes up for our week 16 projections, but you can expect that if the Dolphins in the last 3 games, if they do end up somehow winning out, which at this point, who knows? They'll need to if they want a winning record. They're going to end up picking where we always pick 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Like this is right here your home of the Miami Dolphins. I'm not even kidding. It's right here, ladies and gentlemen. Right now we're still close to the top 10. It just depends on what ends up happening um with us. Do we actually get it or not? And it's not going to be easy, guys. It's not going to be easy at all.